Hey everybody, this is Mike, Heavy Metal Cowboy. How you doing tonight? This is a piece I've been working on for a while. Not with any type of, I don't know, I haven't been working on it very consistently, but it's going to be a headboard for my bed. Because I'm tired of not having a headboard. Everybody wants a headboard, right? So anyway, this started out as a 10-foot piece of cherry, about 2.5 inches thick. And I cut it down, I planed it, flipped it over, whatever, filled the inside with epoxy, and I have some glass beads in the epoxy for a little feature. I really enjoy it. I've sanded it down and then I smoothed it out. I've done three seal coats on it. And when the seal coats, you can really pick out the epoxy, the glass bead feature. And they're glass beads. I bought them from Hobby Lobby, pretty cheap. But it gives it a little bit of contrast. I don't know if contrast is the right word, but I'm going to use contrast. Anyhow, so what I'm doing right now is I've applied my third seal coat on it, and everything's pretty much sealed. There's no more holes that still have to be filled. There's no more cracks. I just want to smooth it out before I do the flood coat. Now, this is going to take a bit, and I'm going to sand. And I'm going to sand for quite a while. And I'm going to have my headphones with my MP3 player for hearing protection, and I just like to listen to music. And if I have the sander going and the vacuum going that I have connected to the sander, I can't really hear the music. So I want to hear the music as I'm sanding. So I'm going to be sanding for a bit. For sanding, I use Gator. I get this from Lowe's. It's Gator Power sanding discs for my random orbital sander. This is the label from the 320 grit. I just thought I'd throw out that unsponsored shill. But I'm going to start with 60. This is 60 grit, and from 60 grit I'm going to move to 80 grit, and 120, then 320, and probably 120, 220, then probably 320. So anyway, this can be kind of boring for you, but this is essential in my opinion, because you can see I've already sanded it once with a little 220, and I've got a lot of really shiny spots on here, which means the stuff that's been sanded is higher than the shiny bits. Well, when I throw the flood coat on, I want it to be as smooth as possible. I know, I'm kind of anal in that respect, and that's cool. It's my OCD. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to sand it down, and then I'm going to put a flood coat on it tonight. So anyway, if you're not interested in sanding, and I don't see any possibility that anybody who's watching this is interested in watching somebody sand for a while, then fast forward until you get to the flood coat. Anyway, I will sand for approximately 2 songs per grit. So 2 songs per 80, 60, 2 songs per 80, 120, 220, and then 320. Then I'll move it inside. I'll clean it off first. Then I will move it inside, and then I'll do the flood coat after I level everything off and make sure it's cool. So anyway, if you don't want to hear me sand, fast forward. If you do, put on your favorite music and have a blast, because I'm going to do the same. why most people won't show you the sanding process. It is long, it is tedious, it is painful, but it is necessary. You gotta get your slab, you gotta get your piece of work as smooth as possible. That's why I go back and forth, up and down, and then 45 degrees or approximately, I have a protractor out here, approximately 45 degrees one way, and then the opposing 45 degrees the other. You really want to make it as smooth as possible. Because your epoxy needs a really smooth base. I mean, come on. Your building is only as good as the foundation is provided. Okay, so I'm providing a good foundation for my epoxy. Yeah, I know you got these pieces here that look a little white. But you know what? It doesn't matter. Because this thing is smooth. And I've only got a 220 right now. Only got up to 220. Here in a minute I'm going to hit it with 320. And then I'm going to say, good! But when you pour the flood coat of epoxy on, I'm sorry, I believe you have to have it as smooth as possible. Now, I got a little bit of 220 here. So, let me get this out of the way. Now the sides aren't super critical because of the sides. But I'm still going to scuff them up with 220. Oh, come here. I can't hold on to it. Because I want the sides to look still good as possible, but it's not as important as the front or the top, however you want to call it. This is a headboard, so this is going to be the front. So yeah, I'm going to hit all the sides with 220 and make sure I get the curve, make sure I get the transition between the top and the side. And keep picking up the 220 as I drop it. Spin it around, try to get the other edge. That's a big old piece of wood. It's heavy. It's like almost 100 pounds. But I want to scuff it up. I want it really just for the mechanical bond, for the flood coat. God, it's so smooth and my hands are so covered in dust. It's kind of hard to hold on to. I know there's people out there who are going to say, but Mike, why do you do that? Well, it's worth it. It really is. The end result is worth it. It shows. I've made projects where I did not make sure to get the sides. I made projects where I was not sanding to 320. And the results show. They really do. Alright, so I'm going to hit it with some 320 real quick. At least the top. The sides are good with 220. Sides and edges. I rounded all these over with a 1/4 inch round over bit on my router. But if you don't, it's the details. It really is. It's the details. So I'm gonna go with solder 2 with some 320. And that's the 220. Got all the epoxy muck on it. But I'm gonna go find my paper towel so I can wipe my hand off. That's what I'm gonna do. All right. But anyway, yeah, I'm gonna hit some 320 for a solder 2. I'm gonna clean it off. Then I'm gonna take it inside and I'm gonna do the flood coat. Please bear with me. We are not experiencing technical troubles. This is how it should be. Headphones, music, vacuum, and sander. with it, baby. Plug it in the compressor. Ah, goodness. I can quit screaming now. Talk. Shift compressor. All right. Like I said, it's cherry wood, green epoxy. Not quite clear. I threw a little extra stuff in there to opaque it, if you will, instead of being transparent. But this is why. You can see the glass pieces back here. Gives a little bit of texture, gives a little bit of contrast. So it's not just green. Now what I'm going to do is I bought an LED light kit, and I'm going to sell this light kit in the back. And it will ring. Here, let me move it over so I can show you. Ah, good Lord, this thing's heavy. All right. My mounting bracket will be about here. And it'll be a 2x4 split or cut at 45-degree angle. One half will be mounted on the wall, the other half will be mounted here. So it'll sit into it and it'll pull it to the wall. Then on the ends and the bottom, I will have another 1 3/4 inch piece of wood. On the inside of that piece of wood, I'm going to have an LED light strip mounted, so as to go all around the piece of wood, all around the headboard. And the LEDs will be pointed in, which will really highlight the glass feature in this. I'm going to pull you down so I can show you. Pardon me. Don't get seasick. I hope you don't get seasick. I get seasick. Not really. All right, you can see the glass pieces in here. That's going to give it a little bit of texture. And then when the LEDs mounted on the pieces of wood, go for the angle for depth perception, it's going to block the light going out, okay? Except for the ends. Except for the ends where it's obviously going to, shoot out because of the clear epoxy. But the light will go this way, and this way, and this way, and the other side coming back this way. So it'll be like this big well of light, which should really accentuate all these glass beads I have in here. I think it'll be very cool. That's my headboard, But hey, I'm going to finish cleaning it up out here, take this inside, get it leveled, and then we'll do the flood coat and you'll see how it's going to look. All right, see you in a few minutes. Hi guys, back at you, HeavyMetalCowboy. As in previous videos, or early part of this video, I sanded this down starting with 60, went to 80, 120, 220, then 320. Then I sanded the sides and the edges with 220. Now, I've already applied 3 coats, 3 seal coats, just to make sure everything's nice and sealed. And now this is my flood coat application. And for a seal coat, you apply approximately 1 ounce per square foot. And this is almost 10 square foot. So now I'm gonna, by that formula, I should go 40. But me being OCD like I am, and I want to make sure I have complete coverage, I'm going to put about 8 ounces more, so I'm going 48. Now it also makes it easier that this bucket I'm using has a 48 ounce gradation on the side. It doesn't have 40, so I don't have to guess. So I went 24 with the hardener, 24 with the actual epoxy. Makes it easier on me, I don't have to guess. And life is good. So I'm going to stir this. I have 24 ounces of hardener, I have 24 ounces of epoxy, and now I got to stir. And when you stir your epoxy, you want to make sure you stir it really well. You want to scrape the sides. You want to scrape the bottom real good. You don't want, you want to mix it. You really want to mix it well. You don't want to have pockets of epoxy without hardener or hardener without epoxy. You want to make sure it's really, and can I say really one more time? Okay, really mixed well. The thing is, the more you stir it, the better it's going to cure. One of the indicators that your epoxy is stirred really well is when it is all clear. Because when you first pour everything looks real cloudy, and it looks kind of murky and mucky. But when you get to the point to where you've stirred it really good, it looks like glass. It really does. It's very clear. Now you're going to have air bubbles in it. You can't get away from that unless you put it in a vacuum chamber and suck all the air out, but I don't have one of those. Actually, it's one of my next projects, one of my few projects I got coming up. Build a little vacuum chamber to suck out the air bubbles from this epoxy. But until then, stir it really well. Use a stir stick. I bought a whole bunch of stir sticks from Hobby Lobby. This is a piece of wood from a previous project. It just works really good. So stirring. It's kind of like from Finding Dory. Swimming, keep swimming. Yeah, I know. I'm looking for comments like, dude, that's not the way it went in the movie. That's alright, I'm good with that. But just make sure you stir your epoxy really well. Scrape the sides. Make sure you get all the epoxy, all the hardener, the epoxy, all the little pockets that's not integrated. Scrape the bottom, make sure the bottom's all scraped up real well. Alright. Almost there, getting there. Doing this kind of stuff is 1% excitement, 99%, oh my gosh, I gotta do this again. Oh yeah, you do, to do it right. Kind of like life, you know. Take care of the small stuff, and all the big important stuff just seems to go well. All right, so just about got this mixed really good. I don't have too much air bubbles in there. I haven't been stirring it too vigorously. Yes, I'm on the Thesaurus a Day, Word a Day Thesaurus website, so vigorously. All right, I think I'm good. Scrape off the stir stick, make sure I don't have a whole bunch of this stuff hanging on the stick, because that makes a mess. Alright, put my stir stick where it will not cause havoc. I have a couple of silicone mats over here that I lay everything on. And once the epoxy dries, the silicone really releases it nicely. Alright, now you'll notice underneath this is plastic sheathing. I got this stuff from Lowe's, 100 foot by 10 foot. And about a week ago, I said, what the heck, let me try it and see how it works instead of the Tyvek tape underneath. This sheathing releases so well. You just bend it and all the runoff just rolls off. It doesn't adhere at all. It's very amazing. All right, now, here comes my favorite part of these projects. Applying the epoxy and doing the finish. This lets you see what it's going to look like. This is like the ooh-ah stuff, and I love the ooh-ah stuff. I really should turn my light on before I did this. My $18 Walmart child's room lights. Ah, heck, I can't even get to it. I'm blocked. Okay, anyway. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to spread it out with a little trowel. I'm using the 1/4 inch by 1/8 inch notches, which spreads out the epoxy really good. It gives you that depth you need. And just spread it out nicely. Once again, this is the flood coat, so you want to make sure you've got a little depth to it. You don't want to use the squeegee, you don't want to use the Bondo spreader like I really like to use when I'm doing the seal coats. Because this is the flood coat. You want this to have some depth to it. About an 1/8 inch depth. Now, you're going to want it to run off the sides, of course, to get the sides really good. But don't make it run over the sides yet. You're going to make sure you cover the whole top with the epoxy. That way you get the coverage. I don't know how else to put it. So just spread it out, take your time. You get about 15 minutes to work with this Pro Marine Supplies epoxy. About 15 minutes before it actually starts to cure. I mean, okay, let's talk about this logically and realistically. It's curing already, it's starting to cure. The second you mix it, it starts to cure. But you got a little thing called working time. It stays workable for about 15 minutes before it really starts to thicken. You don't want it to, you don't want to lollygag, you want to work it. Who came up with that word lollygag? Guess someone who gagged on a lolly, huh? But you want to spread it out nice and even, give it a nice coat. Make sure you cover the whole top. I love the way this looks. I love my seal coats. I love my flood coats because it lets you know what the end product's going to look like. It brings out the texture. It brings out the depth of the wood. It brings out the grain. It really shows how this project's going to look, which makes sense because this is the final coat. I know it's like 1 o'clock in the morning. I'm tired, but I want to get this done. I want to wake up in the morning to a finished product. Just make sure you spread it out really well, really even. And what's going to happen is once you stop messing with this stuff, it's still going to fall over the edges. But you want to make sure you cover everything, because one thing that really sucks is if you wake up in the morning or you come back to it later and you think everything is gone, you got this one spot that you missed. And it's just so obvious. It's like the elephant in the room. It's like, you just go, you just want to, I don't know, hit yourself in the head with a frozen banana or something. Because you missed something so obvious, but you couldn't see it when you were doing it. Once again, I'm using the 1/4 inch by 1/8 inch side of this trowel, this tile trowel, just to make sure I cover everything and I leave a good layer on top. Okay, I've got a good layer. So now I'm going to start clearing. You should have started in the middle. That's all right, I'll start in the middle now. Yes, there is a little bit of room for error. Especially since I went an extra 8 ounces on the epoxy. Now the website I get my epoxy from, they said I needed to use like 87 ounces. I think they're erring on the side of caution. And the first couple of times I did projects, I used their recommended amount, and I ended up with huge amounts of runoff. I will not castigate them. I will not say anything negative about them. They're an awesome company, Pro Marine Supplies. I think they err on the side of making sure you have enough. Well, my experience has shown I only need about 4 ounces per square foot. All right. Grab a paper towel to wipe the trowel off. Lay it over here on my epoxy, on my silicone mat. All right, now, this is a very important part. Make sure you rub the sides and you spread the epoxy that you just pushed over the sides. Make sure it's all spread. Make sure every inch of your sides are covered. Another problem is when you go and you finish you think you finished, but you come back the next day and you see these big areas where the epoxy never went over the side and it's dry or not shiny, it's dull. You want all this stuff to be shiny. Nice and shiny. My precious. I'm a big Hobbit and Lord of the Rings fan. Just make sure you get all the sides really good. Make sure as you rub your hand on there, you're feeling nothing but smoothness, nothing but epoxy. And you'll know if you hit a dry spot, it'll be like, I can't move. Okay, good. Good, 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 good. And once again, you see how this is why it's my favorite part of the project. Because it brings out the grain, it brings out the color, it brings out the depth of the wood. And you can see my my glass beads in here. Give it some contrast, give it some sparkle. Okay, now I'm going to get rid of the air bubbles that are always going to be there when you pour. Hopefully all these are just surface bubbles and not stuff coming from the depth of the wood. That's why I do the seal coats, to seal it, make sure that no air is coming in. Just remember, don't leave your torch in any one place for very long because it'll start burning the epoxy. Because this stuff is flammable. I've got a few projects on fire when I went derp and left the torch too long. It's funny to see the flames roll across it. I wouldn't say funny, but it's like, what the heck? What did I do? I'm probably torching a lot more than I should. That's all right. I haven't burned the house down yet. Life is good. Notice I say yet. good. Man, this could be sweet. What's going to be really cool is after this cures in about 3 days when I can start really messing with it. I've got an LED light kit that I'm going to install underneath. I've got some strips. I'm going to make some strips of wood. This is going to be the top, so this is where I'm going to mount it. And on the back side of this, oh, hold on, what's that? You little barrel. Okay. I'm going to mount a piece of 2x4 going across the whole side of the top, cut at a 45-degree angle. The other side of that 45-degree angle of that 2x4 is going to be on the wall. So they'll sit like one piece and it'll pull itself to the wall and make it really secure, which is really nice. Then I'll put another strip here, one across the whole bottom and one across the side. On the inside, pointing up, to the side, down, and to the side, I'm going to have this LED light strip, which will really illuminate, really just light up this clear epoxy with all the glass in the bottom. This is going to be cool. In reality, I probably won't have it lit very much because it's just me. It's not like I'm going to invite people in my bedroom and go, here, look at this, click. But I think it'd be neat. Anywho, let me pull you down. Let me give you a better, closer look. I need my flashlight. Where is that bad boy? Admire the work. I'll be right back. All right, if you haven't already logged off and said, oh, this guy's not professional, you're right, I'm not. I do this for fun. I do this so I don't have to spend thousands of dollars on furniture at whatever stores most. But see, this is what I'm talking about. It's going to light this up, and you can see the bubbles underneath. I think it's going to be very cool. Here, let me pull you down, show you what I'm talking about a little closer. So once again, take your Dramamine. Don't freak out. Oh, goodness. There we go. All right. All right, I've got you down to a reasonable level. Let me go to the other side so I don't knock over the tripod that I still left there. Anyway, this is what it looks like. Grain on this cherry showed up really nice. Knot hole I filled with copper. Come on over. Filled that with copper. I like green and copper. I know, I'm weird. But anyway, once the lights go on behind it, you can see it's just going to be neat. Now this bad boy weighs about 80 pounds. It's 70 inches wide, 19 inches tall, about 2 inches thick. It's got some weight to it. It's going to be cool. Oh wow, I can see it better like that. That's neat. I didn't realize that. Back up a little bit for you. That's nice. That's a knot hole that I filled. I know I said it earlier, but I'm going to say it again because I like it. Anyway, I hope you all have a wonderful night. It's about 1 in the morning. The pool's at 83 degrees. I think I'm going to jump in there for a bit and cool off. I don't run the air conditioner, so it's sort of warm in the house. But I hope you all have a wonderful evening. Take care. Have a good night.